Call our meeting back to order, and thank you to everyone who locked down with us. Appreciate your time and being here. For those who weren't, we had a threat here in the courthouse. Courthouse was locked down. We are now, everybody's safe. The building has been swept, and they're checking with our elected officials to ensure that they're comfortable opening the doors again for regular business. So with that, we should get back to business as well. We left off with Mr. Brubaker. Close to wrapping up, right? Now we're way behind.
I was really close, so you didn't have to call the cops to get me to stop talking.
All right.
So, all right. Well, Mr. Chairman, just the last thing I wanted to kind of get you up to speed. I'm sure you've seen the headlines. Some folks in this room have been impacted by the headlines. So the industry, as with a lot of industries, is suffering with a lot of turmoil right now. And prior to the pandemic, there was a already existing pilot shortage that was accelerating very rapidly. The pandemic happened, and momentarily the pilot shortage went away because there wasn't a demand for all the flights. Well, the demand for air travel came back quicker than everybody anticipated. The airlines did a bunch of voluntary retirement packages for captains that were close to retirement. So we had a mass exodus of very qualified pilots leaving the industry. And then demand came back very, very quickly. And they don't have enough pilots, quite honestly. There's not enough pilots at any one of the airlines to be able to operate the schedules that they have in place. On top of that, we're seeing issues with staffing for ground crews, staffing for TSA, staffing for fuelers. You name it, every single part of the aviation industry is being adversely impacted right now. And it's a combination of already being short on crews. You add Omicron and the rapid spread of Omicron. And then on top of that, you add weather that happens this time of the year across the country, and it's a recipe for disaster. So you've seen the headlines. We've been impacted here. We've had a few cancellations. Largely the flights have still operated, but we have had a few cancellations Friday night and Saturday morning, and then Sunday night and Monday morning. Those flights were canceled. There will likely be more cancellations coming. We have asked the airline to be proactive in that and not wait till the last minute to make the cancellation, so that gives people enough time to make changes. So I imagine that there will be some information to share with the community in the coming days about that. But we want to, if they're going to happen, we'd rather them happen further in advance. But everything is just in turmoil right now. We're hearing from the airlines that they feel like it's going to get better by May. The situation specifically at SkyWest is they're hiring more pilots than they're losing, but the training capacity is the problem. There's not enough simulators in the world to train all of the pilots that they're hiring. So they're shipping pilots all over the world, from St. George to all over the world, to go to get in a simulator, because there's just not enough simulator capacity domestically. So the industry is doing everything they can. But it's really, truly a perfect storm that has created this. I know that doesn't help those of you that have been impacted adversely, but the reality of the situation, this isn't United. This isn't SkyWest. This isn't the Southwest Wyoming Regional Airport, to be clear, that's causing any of this. It is a lot of external factors impacting the industry, and everybody's trying their best to manage it. The airlines, trust me, they don't like losing money. They want to fly flights. That's how they make money. So they're doing everything they can to get this done. United is offering triple pay to their pilots and their flight crews through the end of January to fulfill flights, offering triple pay. And these guys, some are making north of $150 an hour on regular pay. So you triple that, and somebody's getting really, really rich right now. So, but just want to let you know that the industry is facing it. We're aware of it. We're talking with the airline at least once a week, sometimes more often than that. We have a great relationship with them, but it's going to be a rocky road for the entire industry for a couple more months, and we're prepared to deal with it. And we'll just see how everything shakes out. We've all kind of got used to this roller coaster ride for the last almost 2 years now, and this is just part of it. So hopefully the last part. So, and that is all that I have.
Excellent. You were so close. You could have, wrapped it up there. Sorry to keep you so long.
Just don't count the break as part of my speech or my presentation, so you don't say I was the longest ever.
Talking for 2 hours. That's ridiculous. Questions or comments for Mr. Brubaker?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I hope you're exactly right when you say for continuing for just a couple more months. It would be great if we started seeing things better in a couple months. So I'm glad you're optimistic because you know the industry better than anybody else, and it's good to hear that. But question: what's and this might be and it's just a question that with regard to the airport. Before this COVID back in March 2 years ago, we were on the cusp of working with Green River to get them as part of the Southwest Regional Airport partnership that they once were. And that, how's your board coming on thinking about starting to work on that again? And because I think if there's a time for them to, the city of Rocks or Green River to come in based on that, I'll say that old joint boards contract that was presented a while back, kind of updated to include them with some sideboards in it and that. Where's your board at? Where are you guys at with getting them back in the game?
So I know it is my job to somewhat speak on behalf of my board, but I would say that it would be safe to say that our board believes that we would welcome any partners to the Joint Powers Agreement. We're not actually a party to the agreement.
No.
So we can't open that agreement up. It would require the existing parties, the city of Rock Springs and the county commission, to approach Green River and open up the contract and negotiate that in. I did draft a draft joint powers agreement that was provided to some of you, maybe all of you. It's been a couple of years. I don't remember, that I created based on some other airport joint powers agreements around the state that I felt were very effective. So I did prepare that, and I know I provided it to you, Mr. Chairman, when you were our liaison, and I believe that it's seen the county attorney's office early on, but I don't know if it ever was a formal review or anything. So long story short, we're open to any partners. If you wanted to bring sublet, Uinta County, anybody in, we're open to it. Because the more partners, the better that have a vested interest in the success of the airport. But from our standpoint, we're not a party to the agreement, so we can't actually legally do anything with it. We're happy to support and provide information, whatever we can do to support your wishes, we can do that. Our hands are a little tied since we're not technically a party.
And I'm glad you said that, because in back of my mind, I truly believe that that's the case, that we in Rock Springs have to initiate it and that type of thing. So at the time it was sent out, other than Commissioner Toman, the rest of us sat on the board and that type of thing. And we were right at the edge. I don't think we had much of a conversation with it. And then we jumped into COVID and it got set aside. So would you be so kind as to get copies to us again?
Absolutely. I'll be happy to send it out. And if I remember correctly, when I wrote it, I using the word feature I added comments along the sidebar that, hey, here's two different options how you could do it based on state statute. If you do an airport board or you do a joint powers board, there's conflicting statutes that you can go either way, which gives you a number of board members, all that stuff. So there's a lot of comments along the side column for the parties to make decisions based on what's in statute.
Okay. And right now it's a joint powers board.
It is a joint powers board with 5 board members.
And if you'd get a copy of that to us, if you can find it.
Yeah. So we have a copy of the original one. And just so everybody's on the same page, Green River, according to our records, has never been part of the joint powers agreement. So going
Wow.
back to its inception, Green River was never part of it. It was owned, the airport was owned and operated by the city of Rock Springs. And when it became too much, there was a relationship forged in the 1960s between the county and the city to create that joint powers board. And really it had one amendment, and it had to do with the appointments to the board. Other than that, it's been untouched since I think early 1970s.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think time is ripe. Being a joint powers board, it's also going to require some AG support. Is that correct, Mr. De Leon? So we'll have to do some work with it, but I think if we get it, then we can have some conversation with the leadership of Rock Springs and see if they're aboard with it to get Green River back in the game.
Absolutely. And we're happy to, like I said, support whatever you want us to do as the board and us as staff. We're happy to, like I said, the more vested interest we have from other governing bodies, not necessarily, when I say vested, it doesn't necessarily mean they have to be always providing funding, because you know where my goal is to get to the point where we're not providing funding. But when people have a seat at the table, they tend to take more of an interest in supporting and advocating for. So, and Green River does a great job supporting the air service side of things already. They're just not part of the Joint Powers Board. So,
well, and along that line, yeah, get it to us, because Commissioner Tolman wasn't with us at the time. She needs to look at it, but we also need to put it on our agenda so we can have a conversation and review it with our legalese and the county attorney's office, and then find out how, if Rock Springs is aboard to bring them. And I can't believe they're not, but we need to work the channels and work them correctly.
absolutely. Anything we can do, just let us know. I'll send that out to all 5 of you.
And a copy to Mr. De Leon as well, please.
Okay, I'll CC John.
And Sally, do you need one? Only for what? Yeah, we'll make sure you get one.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, are you okay with that, putting
All
it
good.
on the agenda? And
Yep. Yeah, we need to do that. We need to revisit that. Kind of fell by the wayside, COVID wise, but we were heading down that road. So
Absolutely.
like to do that again.
All right.
Any other questions, comments? Thanks, Devin. Appreciate your time and your work.
All right. You guys are providing lunch, right?
Donuts are in the back.
Hey,
Yeah.
Devin, thank you for what you do. Appreciate your work.
Yeah, no, happy to do it. This community has been good to me, and I appreciate the opportunity to serve the community, not just at the airport, but with some of the other things that I get to do. It's a true honor. So really appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
And you do many other things. So
Yeah.
thank you for all.
Be
of it.
safe.
Yeah.
Do you know if we're allowed to leave yet?
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
People walking
All right.
in and out.
Awesome.
Go
Thanks.
get them. Thank you. Tab E. Now that Devin's taken his 2 hours. Cindy Lane,
We're
talk to us
just
about our conflict of interest statements for 2022.
We should be quick.
Should be quick. Okay, good morning, Chairman, Commissioners. I have brought before you the Conflict of Interest Disclosure Statement for 2022 pursuant to Wyoming State Statute 6-5-118. Board of County Commissioners of Sweetwater County, and the statute reads, and any other people who invest money of Wyoming declare that I now have or previously have held personal savings, checking, loan, or investment accounts in the following institutions in which Sweetwater County has previously invested or may invest public funds in the future. So I just need those filled out and signed, and I will get them recorded.
How thorough do we need to be? I mean, if I had a car loan with a place in Utah 5 years ago, is that something that I should list?
No, I think that it's just where we might invest
Okay.
public
So
funds
much more.
as Sweetwater
locally.
County. Mhm.
Great. Thank you. Everybody has their copy? Yep. Excellent.
Okay, and I would like to say that it was not the airport's fault that I couldn't make it home. I was stuck and couldn't even get a rental car. And then they somehow, when I was trying to get to Jackson and get a ride home from there, they found me a seat on a plane yesterday to get here. So
We're all happy you're
it
here.
was not the Rock Springs Regional Airport. Thank
Excellent.
you.
Just a minute, Clerk Lane. I think generally in the past, haven't we as commissioners each read the statement and
Done that.
named the institutions? and then turn these in for public record.
Yes, that has been the historical procedure,
Okay.
and it's done in part because the statute says that it will be made part of the record.
Part of the record.
That can be
Thank you.
done
That's a good reminder.
in
Forgot that we
writing,
did that.
but as you said, it's been typically done orally.
Okay.
Is yours complete?
As complete as it's going to be.
All right, Chairman Wendling, you want to read yours then?
Sure. I, Randall M. Wendling, Board of County Commissioners, Sweetwater County, Wyoming, declare that I now have or previously have held personal savings, checking, loan, or investment accounts in the following institutions in which Sweetwater County has previously invested or may invest public funds in the future. One institution, Rocky Mountain Bank, and they are, as of the first of the year, joined with another bank, and I can't remember which one it is, but it's Rocky Mountain Bank. Thank
Rocky
you,
Mountain Bank. Thanks.
Mr. Chairman.
And mine would be Trona Valley Credit Union, Wells Fargo, and Slavic Investments. Mr. Shanefield.
Mine is US Bank, Commerce Bank of Wyoming, and Full Circle Wealth Solutions.
Mary Tolman, Board of County Commissioners, declare that I now have or previously have held bank accounts. First Wyoming Bank of Wyoming, Bank of the West, Trona Valley Credit Union, Rock Springs National through the Conservation District, and Putman Franklin Investments.
Thank you.
Mine would be Roy Lloyd, Board of County Commissioners, in Sweetwater County. Have had accounts at Trona Valley Credit Union, First Bank of Wyoming, Axo Bank, Solomon Smith Barty, and Nationwide.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yep, I'll just get them out.
Excellent. Thank you. Tab F, designation of newspaper of record for 2022.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
are you ready for a motion? I would designate Green
Oh.
River Star, or do you want to have discussion or presentations or what?
Do we have folks who would like to present? Yes, please come up and identify yourselves and give us
Wow.
a short and sweet.
Hang it just a minute. Just point of order, please, David. Historically, we've had each of them present themselves. And we do have in the packets, we do have the letters. I know Miss Commissioner Tolman was ready to act on them. So yeah, and I want to just point out too, I believe we do have a Rocket Minor rep on Zoom. Am I correct? You're here. Okay, very good. As well as somebody from Rocket on Zoom.
Our legal department, which is in Shiloh.
Just
Okay.
making sure he doesn't say anything bad.
Yeah, let's get them visible so they can listen in. All right, very good. All right, with that, Mr. Chairman, I'm done with my point of order.
Thank you. David, carry on. Give us a good sales pitch.
Good morning, Commissioners. It was,
Good morning.
Quite a morning we've had already. Well, my name is David Martin. I'm the editor of the Green River Star newspaper. And once again, I'm appearing before you to offer our services to the county for its legal publications. Over the last 2 years, we have increased our circulation. Our total circulation is now 2901. We are the largest newspaper in the county now. We have offered what I feel is superior service to the county, although you shouldn't take my word for it. Feel free to ask Sally or the county clerk their opinion of that. But we work to essentially make their lives easier. As such, I've decided to keep our rate the same as last year's, $7 per column inch. Our costs have gone up a little bit, but I feel that we could still offer that price point to you. If you have any other questions, I'm game.
Any questions for Mr. Martin?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
David, thank you for being here this morning and being patient with us while You waited with us.
It was out of our hands.
But anyhow, thank you very much.
Left if you wanted to.
My question is, do you give a contractors or a discount rate to other businesses in town?
If they run larger amounts of legals with us, yes.
Okay, and are their rates the same as lower or higher than what you're offering us?
I believe it's a case by case basis. I know certain organizations are as low as what we're offering you.
But are they lower? Anybody lower? You're not offering anybody lower.
No, I'm not.
Very good, thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Thank you, David. Come on up and give us a sales pitch.
Chairman, Commissioners, I'm Lloyd White, General Sales Manager at the Rocket. We too aim to serve you to the best of our ability. Our readership is increasing. Over the last 4 months, we've increased circulation around 300, puts us counting the mailing and the boxes and racks around 2,400. And we certainly see that increasing as we fix production issues and other things. Our proposed rate for the new year is $6.10 a column inch. Plus something we're doing for county and city and nonprofits is we're offering a value package. So for all your non-legals, you spent about $4,000 last year. For this year, we will match that. So you would get $8,000 value. We will do that for the city of Rock Springs, Green River, and local nonprofits as well to keep everything flat and level. So there's no kind of perceived monkey business. We treat everybody the same. Thank you very much.
We love the monkey business. Don't go anywhere in case there's
joking.
questions.
In case there are questions.
Any questions that we have, Mr. White?
No, Mr. White, I offer the same question, just so it's for the record. Do you offer any discount or contractor rates to other businesses?
Yes, sir.
Are they lower than what you are offering us in
No,
the
sir.
6 point? They're
Yes,
not.
sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Okay.
Explain, yeah. What did you mean by for non-legals, you're giving us $8,000?
No, last
For
year, the
4,000?
county and all their entities spent $4,000 in general ROP ads. So whatever you spend this year, we match that. So you get double the value. So hypothetically, if you spend 4,000 this year, you get 8,000.
But if we don't do the legals with you, that's not
Well, I always give discounts. So
fair enough. Just making sure if
Yes,
it's
sir.
tied together.
yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay, with that, I will entertain a motion on our paper of record for 2022.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Commissioner Shanefield.
I would like to make a motion that we go with the Rocket Miner for our paper of record for 2022 due to the cost. And they also haven't had it for 2 years. Plus the package that they're offering us is a pretty good opportunity.
Thank you. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I'll second.
thank you. Any discussion? I'll comment then, and just in my 3 years that we've been here, we have in the past and typically rotated back and forth, and we didn't last year. And so until and if we get the online advertising possibility, we really have two choices. And so I think that the back and forth is great. So I'll call for the question. All those in favor of the Rocket Miner being the paper of record for Sweetwater County for 2022, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, thank you, Mr. White. And Dave, I hope you write nice things about us still.
Mr. Chairman. Can I make a quick comment?
Please do.
I just wanted to thank the Green River Star for the work
Yes.
that you guys have done for the past 2 years with us, and we look forward to continuing to work with you.
I'll echo that. David, thank you very much. We appreciate what you've done. And you're right, you do write the truth. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Thanks for your patience today. A little wacky.
Thank you.
And you're leaving too, Stephanie?
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay. All right. Very good. Tab G, Weed and Pest Board appointments. And we have a 4-year term. We have the expiring term of Bill Talafiero, and we have one new applicant, Louis Arambell. So I'm not sure that we have a lot of choices or things we need to worry about here, but
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Louis Arambell to the Sweetwater County Weed and Pest.
Do we have a second?
Mr.
Second.
Chairman, I would like to second that.
Thank you, both of you. We'll go with
You heard
We'll go with
first.
Commissioner Lloyd. And any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. We have a break scheduled an hour and 25 minutes ago. Do we need a break? Does anybody
No.
need a break? Okay, we'll carry on then. Tab H has been removed today, and we'll be visiting that in the future. Tab I, request approval of resolution 22-01-CC-01 to amend holiday pay policy, and Brenda's doing it for us.
Yes, good morning. Gary is stuck in a snowstorm right now, so he's on his way back, but he's not sure when he'll be here. So
Well, we're always happy to have you instead of Gary.
Thank you.
It's a win for all of us.
Thank you. And good morning, commissioners, and good morning,
Morning.
Commissioner Chairperson Smith. And it's good to be here with you this morning. So the first item before you is a request to approve the resolution for the holiday pay amendment. At the December 21st meeting, it was presented at that time, and the board had requested that we update the language in there to state that the floating holiday was a holiday that employees could use anytime during the calendar year. So we have updated that. So you should have the proposal in front of you as well as the resolution.
Thank you. I was not in attendance at the last meeting. Is that I think Commissioner Shanefield was the one that had requested. Is that what you'd hoped for? Did everything get done that you wanted?
Mr. Chairman,
Mhm.
I believe so. I was going to double check it and now it's not opening on my computer, but
can't open it either.
in my
Yeah.
initial review, yes.
Okay.
Do you have it?
Do you ha- Can't
Yeah,
open
I didn't open up on mine either. I saw it when I looked at things last night. So please, would you just kind of go over it so people know what we're doing? Please?
So I'll just read the resolution if that's okay.
Sure.
Sure.
Resolution authorizing a floating holiday to be issued on the first day of every year to be used, either recognize Columbus Day, the second Monday in October, or Juneteenth, June day 19th, or US another day during the year issued. No, it just says US. Or
That's not
use.
use.
It could be, it probably should be used.
I think it was a
Um,
typo, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll update that.
So Chapter 7, Section 5 of the Sweetwater County Personnel Policy Manual provides for the observance of any holiday as proclaimed by board or other state or federal official as set forth by the Sweetwater County Board of Commissioners. And whereas per Wyoming Statute 18-3-103 as amended, county officers shall keep their offices open during the usual business hours of each day, excluding Saturdays, Sundays, legal holidays, and other days as established by the county commission through resolution. And whereas the Sweetwater County Commission desires to strike a balance between service to the community and recognition of important public holidays. Now therefore be it resolved by the Sweetwater County Board of County Commissioners, one floating holiday of 8 hours to be used by county personnel subject to the following restrictions. 1 8-hour holiday shall be granted to all eligible county personnel in recognition of Columbus Day or Juneteenth Day in accordance with the previous or with the provisions of the county holiday pay policies, Chapter 7, Section 5. Should either of these holidays fall on a weekend, the county will observe them on Friday or Monday. However, county operations shall be open on both Columbus Day or Juneteenth Day. This floating holiday must be used within the calendar year.
Thank you. So I apologize again for not being totally up to speed on this with the last meeting, but so we're recognizing Columbus and Juneteenth, but
Correct.
work will continue. And we're giving that as a holiday, but it's a floating holiday they can use on those days or they can use elsewhere. Okay,
Yes, that's correct.
And
All right.
Mr. Chairman, the last one just had it being used on one of those days.
that's
And
right.
so we were concerned about staff coverage during those days and wanted to offer the employees an additional opportunity to use it, maybe tack it on to the end of a vacation or something different as well.
Perfect. Okay, very good. Thank you for catching me up to date. Good, then I will entertain a motion regarding resolution 22-01-CC-01, amending holiday pay policy.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. Passes. Tab J. That's you again, Brenda.
That is me again.
Thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me. So in front of you this morning should be the resolution, policies and procedures, and the agreement and release for the voluntary separation program. We've had several employees, let's say 4 or 5 employees, approach us and ask if the board was going to offer a VSP again, the voluntary separation. And we're not certain if the board was going to offer that, but we figured we'll bring it before you and then you can make the decision. The voluntary separation program, we've been using this for quite a few years now, where we are reducing staff numbers so that we will not be in the position that we have to do a layoff. We've worked hard for the past 11 years between the voluntary separation program and through attrition. We've eliminated quite a few positions. In 2020, the last time when the board did offer the voluntary separation program, we had 10 employees who filled out an application and 10 employees that the board approved. In addition to that, we also had 10 positions that were eliminated through attrition. They were vacant positions, so we didn't lay anybody off, but through attrition. So in total, that was 20 positions that were eliminated during that, for that fiscal year. We have added back 3 positions within the last year, where an elected official or a department head would come before the board to request that additional position.
Thank you. Are there any changes in this compared to the previous drafts that we have used in the past?
No, the amount $42,000 that is in there, after taxes, it's roughly $30,000 because it's a taxable benefit. Employees can either use it for health insurance or, just take the cash, but it's a cash offering only, where they have to pay their own insurance.
Excellent. Thank you. Questions for Brenda before we entertain a motion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I have a question for Brenda.
Mhm.
Brenda, just wondering, do you guys have any precursor announced accounts of how many people might be interested? Has anyone vested interested in this to you at this point?
Absolutely. I would say that we have, I would say four people specifically that have come and asked me whether the board was going to offer this.
All right, thank you.
And
Other
in the
questions?
past, with the VSP, the program was designed more like if an employee applies for it and then is approved by the board, that the position would not be restaffed. Or if it is restaffed at a significant savings, hopefully. Because somebody would come in at a lower level. The people that are interested usually are the ones that have been here already 20 plus years or so. The ones that I've spoke to, at least, that they qualify for that.
Commissioner Wendling.
Thank you. Has there been a workup on what the payout is? Or will that come as we get the applications. And my point being is the key to it, I've always felt, is getting a huge, almost all of it paid out from this year's personnel budget with minimal carryover for next year in the budget planning. Has there been any conversations along that line, Brenda? Or
No, not yet.
not yet? Thank you.
Yeah, so we will get that, those costs put together. And that way, if you wanted to address it next board meeting, we'll have that available.
Okay, thank you.
Any others?
I got one more, Mr. Chairman.
Please.
You may not be able to answer this, Brenda, and that's okay. Be honest and say, and please say that you cannot, but the interest that's being shown by the individuals, is it coming from not only departments, but electeds as well?
Yes, it is coming from both elected official departments and departments.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, just not one or the other.
All right, thank you.
You bet.
No more questions for me, Mr. Chairman.
Any others? Okay, what is your pleasure on offering a voluntary separation plan as we have in years past, but not last year?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution number 2022-01-CC02, authorizing the Sweetwater County Volunteer Separation Program.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
just a couple of comments. I'm a little concerned about the volunteer separation at this point, based upon the fact that most of our departments are completely understaffed at this point. And I don't know what kind of values we'll see in savings in some of those departments, because we will have to replace them. And even though we have to replace them, it is at a lower cost. It takes a significantly longer time to pay back and get to an even point when we do that. I'm also, and I did voice concern last time we passed this too, that I think, you know, we were at $30,000 in the buyout agreement, and now we're up to 42. This would be the second time of 42. And I think as we go into economic times, that's a high amount. And I think people are going to retire what we offer, or whether we offer money or not. And so I have those concerns with what's presented.
Thank you, but valid points for sure. And we have discussed them in the past. And so I think that when you're more concerned about incentivizing people to leave than not. In the past, we were trying to incentivize people to leave, and perhaps that's not the route we want to take now. So point well taken. Thank you. Other comments, discussion? Okay. All those in favor of authorizing the voluntary separation program, say aye.
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 Those opposed?
Aye, a nay.
Thank you. We pass. And the voluntary separation plan will be offered, although we don't necessarily have to approve people that request.
No, but Mr. Chairman, I'd like to comment from the standpoint that as valid as my fellow commissioners' points are with wondering at the economic times, you know, there's no better way to say thank you to the people that have put in the years in this county than to, if they're ready to retire, they can leave earlier, which, yes, I agree with Commissioner Lloyd that it'll take a longer time to recoup it, but there's no better way to thank them for their services than to support them so that they can leave and begin to see the next journey in their lives. During the past 2 years, I think we've seen too many people who were coming up to retirement and probably couldn't contract COVID and pass away. And some of those were former employees here, as well as people throughout the county. So I think this is a good way for us to also continue to look where we can reduce staffing, but know that we're going to have to replace staffing, but also it's another way of us as a board showing that we truly do support our people that work here and we value their work. Thank you.
Thank you. That's very, very well thought out, very legitimate. So we'll address those each as they come our way. Moving on to tab K. Brenda, you still handling things here?
I am still here, yes.
All right.
Yes, so
And we have
before
Fire
you,
Warden Mike Bernasian as well here, so he's with us as well. So go
Okay.
ahead, Brenda.
before you is a request to restaff seasonal positions in the county fire department. We're requesting to staff 14 positions, 2 9-month positions, 8 6-month positions, and 4 3-month positions. And that would be for the seasonal firefighter. The total
Thank you.
cost is anticipated to be about $275,000. Last year,
Order.
did
Oops.
budget also for those positions. And the cost last year was roughly $254,000.
Thank you.
Point of order.
Yes.
Brenda, we amended the agenda to say basically a request to help me out, Commissioner Tolman,
Advertise.
advertise for
Okay.
seasonal positions.
Okay,
Just so you know,
not to staff them yet, but to advertise.
we haven't advertised them yet, and I think we need to do that before we start looking at staffing them.
Okay,
Anything else, Brenda?
no, thank you.
Mr. Bornasian. Comments for us? Good morning.
Good morning, Mike. Well,
Good morning, everybody. Afternoon, probably now. No, not quite.
Not quite.
Yeah, what I'm requesting is pretty much what I was requesting last time. We need to advertise for our seasonals so that we can get it on the street and start receiving applications. That's what I'm trying to accomplish. Then based upon however this board wants to move forward, we can decide that step at that time. So we're already behind, and a lot of the federal agencies are starting to close their application period. So, but that's where we're at, trying to give the folks that want to come back to workforce, returning seasonal, an opportunity to apply. And that's what's before you.
Can you, the difference in cost this year compared to last year, is there a reason for that? Did it change at all, or?
Actually, Brenda can clarify that, but it is the 9-month seasonal positions, the 2 9-month positions. We have to offer the individual healthcare. And in the past, Brenda, I think we had to increase what we were offering them. And then, of course, the cost of healthcare.
Sure.
Now, I will tell you that based on future discussions that we'll be having as the committee meets, I'm open to alternatives to how many seasonals, what length of time, and try to massage that with your support and your help and assistance. So.
Great. Questions for Mike or Brenda? No? Then what's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'll make a motion that we approve the request to advertise for seasonal wildlife firefighter vacant positions.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Excellent. Advertise away. We'll get moving on that. Tab L. One more time, Brenda.
That's me again, yes. Before you is a request to restaff an equipment operator position in the county road and bridge department. We have an employee who is resigning January 25th. This is last day. The request, there's a potential that there may be an increase to the budget simply because health insurance. We don't know if a new employee coming in will have single insurance versus family insurance. That's quite a big difference. The employee who currently holds that position has single health insurance coverage.
Very good. Thank you. Gene Legursky, anything to add?
So yeah, I would just like to restaff this position. As you guys know, Road and Bridge is down about 14 employees from 2012. And we've taken on about 150 more miles of road. So we really need this position. The employee is retiring in the end of January. He's about 3 months short of his 20th anniversary. So he's a longtime valued employee, just moving on. So I think it's a good thing for him. I wish him all the best luck, but we just need to restaff this position.
Excellent. Gene, do you have anybody in mind already, or is it not nobody moving up or over?
No, because we have such limited staff that we have to advertise and then hire the position. So if we get this position, we'll begin advertising and then hire.
Is that difficult nowadays, or are we doing okay with?
It depends. Everything's difficult. The last time we did this back in July, we had about 50 applications. Half of them were probably incomplete applications, people just filling out applications. The other half were okay. But we require 3 years of experience, around heavy equipment and other stuff. So that does narrow down the pool a little bit. To be completely honest with you, if we wait until the spring or the summer, if the other stuff comes out that the federal government's trying to push, however that's going to go, every construction company is going to be busy. So we're going to miss out on some good employees.
Great. Thank you. Questions for either Brenda or Gene at all? Nope. Then what's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'll make a motion to restaff the full-time position following the employee's retirement as presented.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Mr. Chairman, I would second that.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I would request that the two commissioners amend their motion and second by including authorizing the chairman to sign.
Mm,
And I'll authorize the chairman to sign.
And I will second.
I like the amendments. Thank you. Excellent. Any other discussion? That was good discussion. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Very good. We're scheduled for a break, but
Mike, Mr. Chairman,
yes.
Mr. Bornasian's here, and I'd like to go on record to thank him for over the breaks prior to the New Year's. We heard about the horrendous fires that took place down in Colorado in the Superior area, as well as which was just suburbs of Denver. Thursday, you and I filled you in. We got a call that his type 1 response team may get called if it was needed for, in Mike's case, it'd be logistics of providing housing, food and that for people that were displaced. At that time of the evening when he called and said he might, I called you. At that time, there were over 600 residents, structures that had been destroyed, over several, I'm going to say 10 to 15, 20,000 people displaced. There were winds of gusts of 80 miles an hour moving into residential areas. It wasn't within probably a half hour that the type 1 team was called up, and talking with you, we authorized him to report to his type 1 team for short duty. And I just want to tell Mike that you gave up your New Year's, you gave up family time, kids home from school, your wife was not working, and I just want to tell you, thank you very much for giving that time up and providing the service that you do to those people down there. In the type of the weather and everything that was taking place, it sure would have been a lot easier to sit home at the fire and enjoy your family. But I want you to know from deep within inside sincerity, thank you, Mike, for being a part of that, being certified, and being able to assist. I pray to God nothing like that ever happens in this community to where we have to depend on people that are trained from other parts of the country to come in here. And if we ever do, I just hope by the grace of God that those people who are certified, know how to do those duties, are allowed to leave their jobs and go and do that. So thank you very much, Mike. For me personally, I'm sure those people down there appreciated it. And thanks for the time you spent. Appreciate it, Mike. Be safe.
Thanks, Commissioner Wendling, and completely echo that as well. Appreciate your efforts, Mike. Do we need a break at all?
You know, I do.
Okay,
Okay.
let's take a break and we will be back at 10 minutes till 12. 10 minutes till 12. We'll be in recess.
The
Thank you. I'll call our meeting back to order. And we are at other now. Any other business to come before this commission?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
having spoke with Ms. Rail out of the HR office, and I know that we were supposed to have chapter 2 today, which is, for all the right reasons, it was a good thing it wasn't brought forward timing wise, but I'd like to know what the commission would think of asking the HR to present more than one chapter at a time as we move into the future for reviewing policies.
Comments on that? None? I would say is that, as long as it's reasonable for them to accomplish, I don't see any reason we couldn't.
Okay, I would ask our Assistant County Attorney, John De Leon, what does your schedule look like? Because I know you're a big part of reviewing them as well.
Yeah, I mean, I can help and participate any time they need. The most recent one was a little different. So I think that was an abnormal difference as compared to the past changes that we've dealt with.
All right. Thank you. So if it's all right, I'd like to request that not only does chapter 2 be presented at our next board meeting, but chapter whatever they feel is next.
Sure.
Sally, would you mind asking them to please have it on the next agenda and have all the necessary documents ready for your distribution? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
just a point of order on this. I think it makes sense to have 2 chapters next time, because in our packet, we did have a completed chapter 2. And I do think it makes sense to do 3. I think after that, it's almost a chapter to chapter piece. There are some chapters in the employee handbook where I think it's very easy to do 2 chapters in a week. Some of the chapters could actually be a little heavier, which I do think we got rid of the heavier ones by getting the grievance chapter and the discipline chapter already done, if I'm correct. But it may be a discussion we have to have week to week based upon what the next chapter looks like too. So, but I do think it makes total sense that next week we have 2 chapters, because really 1 is completed at this point. Well, chapter 2 is completed.
So working at the pace that HR can produce the material for us, I think is what we're saying here. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
one last comment. I also think it's imperative, though, that we have at least a chapter we have something every meeting until it is done. That way we're on a timeline and we complete the project in ample time.
Okay. So at least 1 and perhaps 2 or more. Brenda, what did you want to add there?
Mr. Chairman, we will make sure that we have chapter 2 and chapter 3. And the reason that I had requested that we remove chapter 2, based on how I was feeling yesterday, I was not positive I was going to be able to even present today. So I'm just glad I'm feeling so much better.
We all are. Thanks for being here. We appreciate that.
Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you.
Very
Get
good.
well.
Other, we have Senator Kolb here with us, who has asked for a moment of our time. So please enlighten us on ARPA and how we might be able to get more money.
Well, thank you, newly minted Chairman Smith.
Thank you.
The Board of County Commissioners. Yeah, there's a few things. It's kind of a touchy subject, the ARPA funds. We call that freed up money, and there's about 500 million total. And there's some other questions going around about where do you put that money in a permanent mineral trust fund to earn interest and not have it touched. But there's going to be part of it for water development. And I talked to Senator Hicks yesterday and kind of went over this a little bit. So the water project funds, there's an opportunity. We need to have a phase 1 study to kind of be ready for that to be proposed as a project with a lot of other projects. They're going to be bundled together. Found out today that the Joint Powers Water Board has a project they have for around 24 million for a pump replacement for redundancy. We could, obviously that could be put in there. Representative Stith and myself just talked, and there's another idea that came up, and I want to kind of just float it out there. And this is all, it kind of happened real quick, like yesterday to today. So forgive me if I'm not really well versed in this. If we had a way of dealing with the upcoming specific purpose tax, and this would have to have a menu option on it, not a bundled way of doing it. There's a way it's a win-win. Clark and I were talking about, and it would be that we would get 24 million from the state, and that would go towards, as a fallback, the pump project for the Joint Powers Water Board. Priority, though, would be the North Baxter project, and the differential between the 24 and what the project would cost, to be on the ballot. If that was approved by the voters, the 24 million would go towards that. If it wasn't approved by the voters, it would go towards the Joint Powers Water Board pump project. That way we get $24 million no matter what. And it was a way of, like I said, a win-win. And this is all contingent upon, the governmental entities want to do when they package the specific purpose tax. But it seemed like a good idea. So I wanted to bring this up and speak about it a little bit, maybe have a conversation if, what the board thought about that. So we can work with this, because time is very short. We've got to get something ready with the state. Appropriations is dealing with this. It's all kind of to meld together right now, else we're going to miss an opportunity. And I don't want us to miss an opportunity for, say, we can clearly see 24 million. And if we can get $24 million, that's a win for all of us here. And that was primarily what I came to speak about. I tried to come in earlier, but I was barred from the block. So I circled around and came back around again.
There was no accident. They were looking for you.
No, they seen me. And
Did you by chance order a Happy Meal?
I did not.
Okay, good.
No,
I'm glad to hear that.
No, did not. I just spent my time just driving around in a circle between Rock Springs and Green River. And the other item was redistricting, to kind of an update of what's currently going on. And so I guess, Mr. Chairman, however you want to handle, if you want to talk about the ARPA funds first, and we can talk about redistricting second, just kind of a brief update.
Any questions regarding ARPA?
It's not a question, but I believe phase one watershed study has been done through the Conservation District. The state engineer's office paid us $300,000 to do watershed studies. We did Vermilion Basin. We partnered for the Big Sandy, and we did one that include the rest of the county and around the gorge. And it wouldn't have been listed as a project, but I believe a phase one watershed study has been done for that area. I'm not positive, but I can find out.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Tolman, I need to know the amount of money so we can put it on the table. And if there is an opportunity to do that project, I don't know what the project even encompasses, from currently, from what I understand.
Well, I know it was required for some of those projects. Some don't require a phase one watershed study, but I believe it has been done for the Green River area.
Anything that's a phase one study that's been completed, that could be presented as a project to be paid for with these funds. That, to be clear. So that's kind of the gold standard. So they'll I guess accept the project, and then possibly they would fund it. I think I'm pretty sure we can get something for Sweetwater County. The question is, we have to have our ducks in a row and know what our projects are, and instead of priority. Maybe that's not a priority for you folks. I'm not sure, but you got to pick the priorities. So we can represent you and, get what you'd like done if possible.
Senator, or Mr. Chairman. Yes. Senator, when you say it has to be on the ballot as a menu, you mean as a single item by itself, not bundled together with?
Got to get this right.
Yeah.
Chairman Smith, Commissioner Wendling. Yes. So that would be one way of having it crafted to be a win-win. I don't see how it could be a bundle and for that to happen, right? But this is, obviously I'm getting the cart in front of the horse here because we don't really know where this is going to end up. What I'm saying, I think there's a possibility for that mechanism to work, because if they can do it at the state level and set those sideboards to say exactly what I said. If that ballot initiative fails, then it goes towards the other project. That way we secure 24 million no matter what.
I like the idea.
So.
Any other comments, questions?
Mr. Chairman. Thank you for coming today. What is the time frame? You said it was short, but I can work with SEDC and starting to put some things together as well.
Well, obviously legislative session is going to start. So I'd say, I only think we have maybe a month,
Okay, thank you.
to do something. I think it's that short. I can get, if it's different than that, Commissioner Schofield, I can get back to you. I mean, obviously I'm not sure.
Thank you.
Other questions? No. Okay.
I think it's great.
Item number 2.
Redistricting. It blew off the rails. Sweetwater County has now become the sacrificial lamb for the state of Wyoming. In fact, they wish to take one of our House representatives between Sweetwater and Carbon and move that said seat over to Cheyenne. It's an outright power grab orchestrated by the Corporations Committee. So we're the ones they're dipping into. They've got people up there in Sublette County coming down to Sweetwater all the way down into Farson to take folks up north. And they had the audacity to say they'd serve those people better than, say, Senator Hicks would. In this case, I'm mixing a House seat with a senator seat. But the rule was supposed to keep these districts within county borders, except when it comes to Sweetwater. So Green River gets parted off, part of Rock Springs gets parted off. We basically lose a House seat that will, in my mind, will never get back. So because Cheyenne's getting, say, close to, they're not even at the 50% mark for another House seat. They're saying, oh, we're close enough, so we should take the one that Jerry Paxton is currently holding in Carbon Sweetwater and take that seat and move it over to Cheyenne, which of course the folks in Cheyenne are just pleased as punch with. We're trying to mount an effort to kill it in the House. Of course, you don't know how that's going to turn out till it gets down to that point. Try to do there's an alternative plan with Senator Scott, which is the original plan that we all kind of worked on that seemed like it was pretty good compromise, that we were in agreement. We had liked that within our own legislative group here, and they just chucked it. They came in there with an outright power grab, and now we face what we got now. It's a mess. And it's funny because they'll talk about Smoot, a community up north of, I don't know, say it's 200 folks. And they talk about Green River somehow being less important than Smoot. Like, you realize how many people live here? Like, say it's 12,000 in change here. And they're talking about 200 people. And they'll talk about that like it's a sacred cow. But over here, we'll just take the folks out of here. And we'll just take them out of north of Sweetwater. So basically, they're using us to balance out all these other districts, which, of course, we're opposed to. And that's including Senator Hicks, myself, and really so far that I've talked to the Sweetwater County delegation of legislators. And so it's an ongoing battle. It is took a turn for the worse in corporations, which ironically, we don't have a single person on the Corporations Committee that represent this area of the state. So it's no wonder why we get the short end of the stick. Everyone else was negotiating backroom deals, keeping their area, I guess, the way they liked it. And they just took from us. So it's I don't know how it's going to end up. We'll fight the fight. I'm going to lobby folks and, make our point that it's not just, and it's unjust for people living here. And I'd like to inject the argument that, we're number 2 or 3 in the state of Wyoming for revenue for this state, yet we get shortchanged on representation. And the problem is it's not a legal argument for redistricting. It's about people. But I think it's an important point nonetheless, is that why should we be stripped of representation that we're never going to get back? This is a once in a, probably my lifetime opportunity for them to do this because of Jerry Paxton not running again. So it leaves that seat unoccupied, but it messes up everything. And it comes to our boundary lines, the way we're split up. It just basically siphons off our folks for other people to make themselves whole. And I wanted you to be aware of that as the Board of County Commissioners and know what's going on, at least currently.
Thank you for representing us in that. And that's comments at all besides very disappointing.
Well,
No,
no, what action do we need to take as a
Yeah, what can we
commission?
do to support?
Letter?
Well,
presence, or-
I think as Sweetwater County, just Commissioner Tomlin, I think it'd behoove us for all like Rock Springs, Green River and the county to write a letter against this and give it to corporations. Obviously, I think we got to be unified and say we don't feel like it's going to, represent us with this current plan. It degrades us. And
Mr.
beyond,
Chairman, I think we, as a commission, we should sign and write a letter to corporations opposing this action.
make it official, Commissioner Tomlin. I think the more you can do that, the better. It at least you go down with saying you didn't like it instead of just being a victim.
Thank you. Other comments?
Mr. Chairman.
I wonder if this is something we can bring up in our intergovernmental meeting on Thursday too, to get city, see if we can get City of Green River and Rock Springs also involved in the process. And I do think we should frame a letter sharing our concerns of losing representation. And I think if we can partner with them, as Senator Kobus shared, I think that's a huge piece. And we have that avenue to meet with them on Thursday already scheduled.
Excellent point. Thank you. Commissioner Shanefield.
Thank you. Senator, is there anybody going to be going to the city meetings tonight?
I was going to attend, Chairman Schofield. I think, anyone else, of course, more the merrier. I was really going to talk about this ARPA funds and try to once again get us unified to have a position. Arguably, people are going to see more benefit than others. You could argue that, but it's a bit trickier with the ARPA funds, just on how we're going to go forth with that. I just was trying to think of a way, and I'm open to ideas, how we can get something from this money for the benefit us here. And obviously if it's North Baxter, it's North Baxter. But if, like I say, the voters didn't like that, then we would at least get the Joint Powers Water Board pump project funded and go that direction so we can secure the money in any event, providing we can get that written in the appropriation, which Representative Stith is on appropriations. And it's key kind of to have people in these positions like it would be in corporations, which I did ask to be on corporations, I might add. But being a first-year person, it didn't work because I knew the redistricting was coming up. But we got what we have. And so it's a kind of a bigger intergovernmental question, which is probably really appropriate coming up with the next meeting about some sort of strategy on how we're going to go forward so we can try to make the best of this.
Any other questions or comments?
was just the representative redistricting impacted as all, or was the Senate as well?
Yet another mess because they chose to work on the House districts first I'm a math guy, and that didn't make any sense because they had the House districts nested within Senate districts. So there's half as many Senate districts as there is House districts. So it'd be simpler mathematically to do with the Senate. But of course, the House came up with this plan, so it dealt with the House. So the Senate is a mess. What currently the plan would be is they're going to shift all the Senate districts over. So I think it ends with Senator Hicks and Senator James. They got them on top of each other right now. So it'd have to be a runoff election for that seat. One of the plans they're moving forward with. And once again, the issue is Cheyenne wanted more representation. And what do? They skipped over Laramie. They went right over Albany and go right into Sweetwater Carbon and take one of our people, I'll use the word steal one of our representatives and move them over to Cheyenne. So instead of taking their problem locally, which would be the adjoining area, they went over to Sweetwater and grabbed our person. And that's in essence the problem. So to answer your question, Commissioner Wendling, it screws up a lot of things. There's a cascade effect you have going across the bottom of the state, which they haven't worked out yet. This is how, I don't know, bad plan, right? They deal with the House and deal with the Senate. And they think that, here the bigger question is, what's the Senate going to do? Is the Senate going to be happy with it? I'm not. I know there's numerous other senators that aren't happy. I don't have a count yet. I know they're getting close to a count of no in the House, but it's not there yet. People are working on it, but so there's not really a cohesive plan that dealt with both of them. It would have been simpler to just do Senate districts, because you could have shifted them, which is what we did here in Sweetwater Carbon. And so District 9 is what were, and District 10's north of us. We had it figured out how to do this without losing a House seat and disrupting the Senate seats. So it's an unknown, I guess, is probably the most honest answer I can give you.
Get your work cut out for you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work to do.
A lot of other stuff too.
Any other questions or comments for Senator Kolb?
Final comment. Thank you. Appreciate you stopping in and thinking about us, and even at this late part of the morning, but appreciate it and appreciate what you do down there at the Senate. And we stand behind you. And last question is, how do you like yourself on the TV behind me?
I can see my back just
No,
fine.
but your
No,
face
this
there
is
when
much
you're
improved.
talking.
This meeting room is much improved. I mean, we were back against the wall before. It was terrible. People had no place to sit. It wasn't very conducive for the public to interact with the Board of County Commissioners. This is much better.
But you were part of making it better, I believe, right?
Oh, part of the 48 million in reserves.
There you go.
You can say, call that whatever you want, but
Yep.
yeah, we were all part of it, and hopefully we're all pulling for the right reasons.
Thank you.
And thank you for all what you're doing. And of course, please interact with myself and any other of our local legislators and tell them what you're thinking.
Okay.
'Cause I need to know more than, frankly, the WCCA, because WCCA, I know, doesn't represent you all the time, right? We always have different opinions. And I appreciate hearing from people. Text me on the floor if you see something going south, and maybe it still won't be the right outcome, maybe, but at least I know exactly where you're coming from and do the best I can to, represent that when I can.
Appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me.
Yeah. Be safe, John.
Next up, executive session. We decided we needed one contract.
Yes, I'd make a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Second.
Yeah, all in favor?
I
Aye.
Aye.
And we will go into executive session. Do we need a break before?
don't think it'll take very long.
Okay,
Just to cover all break for a second.
just to cover all breaks.